just wanted to celebrate creativity and freedom and movement, style, art, just things that I feel we desire. We don't need them, we want them, and they are important because we want them. Hi, everyone.
So the way we usually do this is we start with the front, and then we move to the well, and then as the big reveal at the end, we look at the cover, or in this case, covers.
When Anna approached me with the idea in mind that I would be guest editor, my initial reaction to it was, I don't know how I could do this. I don't feel confident in my abilities. So I didn't really believe I was up to it, but Anna can be very persuasive. And I shared the news with Michael Ariano and Nick Newbold, and I said, what do you think? And, you know, we all kind of came to the same conclusion. If I didn't say yes, I'd regret it.
So these are the content pages.
Okay, TOC, right?
Yeah.
I learned that from Taylor yesterday and Virginia.
We were going through the issue with Anna, like spread by spread, page by page, just reviewing it so that we could finally say, yes, this is it. We've seen it together. We've said goodbye and see you soon, kind of thing.
Now we go into
Kaya.
Kaya. You've seen these pictures.
I've seen those pictures. That was the first shoot we did for the magazine. It was a love fest, you know, between Grace, me, Kaya, Stephen, Pat, Guido. It was just heaven.
I have to drop one of them, and I don't know what one to drop. I mean, this one, architecturally, it's fantastic. This is a bit too colorful, maybe. There's a blue version.
Yeah, we could go back and change it out.
This really gives me Kaya. Yeah.
When I heard Mark was going to be guest editing this issue, and when they asked me to do the cover, yeah, I was so thrilled that he thought of me for it. Our collaboration has meant so much to me and done so much for my career that to be able to celebrate it in this way is like such an honor.
Willow, should we just wheel these next door and then she can try them?
Which one do you want to start with?
I felt like she would be a great cover because of who she is, because of the history I have with her, and because of the work that she's doing.
Do you want leather or satin? You want to try that?
Oh, that one's very good on you. I think it's absolutely...
That's how I feel like my posture actually is.
Well, like, yeah.
I was really excited when I got to the fitting because they had all of the 2024 collection that Mark did, which was playing so much with proportion, all these like big oversized dresses and extreme versions of silhouettes.
Your arms, what can you do?
Anything forward is
And down.
fine, and down.
Yeah, no up and back.
You can't do this.
I think fashion can take itself very seriously sometimes, and sometimes it should. But I also think it's so important to have satire. Mark always did such a good job of like taking the work really seriously, but not letting the clothes be too self-serious.
I've never heard so much laughter in a pre-shoot fitting, because it's like every outfit makes you smile or it's a challenge. Yeah.
What a joy to be able to bring those feelings into people through the clothes that you create. And it was the same at his fittings. Like, it was such a breath of fresh air of like, oh, we can enjoy this. It was a nice reminder of like, this should be fun.
That's the one the artist who's...
Have you in here?
Anna Weyant, who's one of my very favorite artists, is painting Kaya in the blue lace dress. From the beginning, I wanted her to do the cover. I thought it would be very exciting to have an Anna Weyant portrait of a young woman. I think she's a great artist, and I wanted to see her work championed in Vogue.
Big hair and all that, so big.
The energy in the studio was very, very good. It just went so well, and I got to work with Grace and Kaya and Guido and Pat, which is like the dream team.
Well, we've decided the hair needs to be fuller.
For the second half.
We're joking. It's like 3 wigs that have been sewn together. I kind of wanted this kind of sort of ledge, so Kaya has a very sort of long neck in the picture. And because the kind of the clothing's so exaggerated, I wanted the hair to be exaggerated too.
Guido is I usually refer to him as a sculptor more than a hair stylist.
This would be good on the lips as well, right?
Word.
Major.
And then Pat, the same way, like she truly is an artist. I just have so much trust in both of them. I go in and I'm like, I am your canvas, you can do whatever you want. And I'm always so blown away. So much of the things that I've learned about beauty, and I use the word beauty, but it's really like art, is from collaborating with them.
This is what I narrowed it down to. But
No, but you can't because you've got to do that as well, right?
Well, I can do 7 because I can do 6 plus a cover.
The cover is by, I think, the greatest fashion photographer we have, Stephen Meisel.
He's so fast. He knows exactly what he wants. And it's just like, we've done 3 of 6.
I think you're seeing what it is because Kaya's been created in this very stylized version of herself, and she's putting on these clothes, which are very stylized versions of icons. She's in front of a colorful backdrop, and Stephen's just shooting her in these wonderful positions and poses, which are very playful, but still done in a very sophisticated way. There's nothing wacky or zany about the pictures. They're actually just very beautiful portraits and fashion pictures. In the middle of November, right after the election, whichever way it goes, I'd like to put something out that's about fashion, about creativity, and about the joy of making things, creating things, seeing them come to life. So no matter what happens in the world, politically or otherwise, it's essential that creativity continues and that we make and move and find joy in everything we do.
And this? Okay, I love.
Did you read it? Well, I think
Jeremy O'Harris.
Yeah, no, it's Jeremy, but he wrote a piece about wearing a corset, which is a bit of a stretch when you look at it with the nails, but we're working on it.
I don't think Vogue really does those beauty features so much anymore. But one of the things that I always loved about Vogue were these incredible pen images, which I did want some of that spirit. I wanted a kind of real focus on 2 things that I feel are very exciting in the beauty world. And one of them is lashes and the other is nails.
With going to Jeremy, what we talked about is this idea of desire, and whether it's a dress that Venus Williams couldn't sit down in at the Met. It's like when you have to have something because it's that desirable to you. There are lashes you can't see out of, there are nails you can't pick things up with, and corsets you can't breathe in, dresses you can't sit down in,
so we just need
heels
to make
you can't
it
run in.
a little bit more,
Make that point.
yeah.
Let me get shimmer for the shoulder.
As I was describing it to Taylor, you know, I felt, oh, I like this idea of impossible beauty. And what I kind of meant by that is that I've heard this so many times. Like, we used to, the head of production, Danuta, at our office would say, like, but she can't raise her arm because the armhole's too tight. You can't walk in those heels because they're too high. You know, you can't use a computer or laptop because you've got long fingernails. Like, so I just thought, like, why do we do this? Like, why do we do this to ourselves? You know, why would they put themselves in danger by wearing a dress or a heel or a nail? And the answer is that because you just love them so much that it's not form following function.
Wow, beautiful. That's amazing. Amazing.
Okay, but you gotta place the nails a little.
Yeah.
This has to do with desire and wanting something so much that you're willing to put up with, you know, the discomfort.
Can you explain the thinking here?
You know, I was absolutely not interested in doing the house at all. And then you gave me a little pressure on it. I thought, okay, well, it needed to go in a completely different direction. That wasn't at all about decor, but about my comfort at home.
Gregory Crutzen image, I think, is probably the most personal it definitely is the most personal to me. And Gregory doesn't do things like this. He's turned down many requests over the years, but he was interested and open. So we made a date for him to come to the house. Then he just asked to have some time alone in the room that he was interested in photographing. And then he would write kind of paragraph about how he saw the image. And he wrote it as if it were a script.
Well, it's a Frank Lloyd Wright house. It's like a historic monument to beauty and solitude, I think. Entering into your home and knowing how much thought and everything you've done to make this your home I wanted that all reflected in the picture in my own way.
Yeah.
Because I had to make it my own.
The logistics started, and it was a team of, I think, 40 or more people, and there was all kinds of machinery and lighting equipment. And then Ariel came in, and she brought all these different flowers that she knew I would like. And then Gregory chose the vase with the flowers and the robe and the blanket. The blanket run-through was also a thing. You know, what blanket would Charlie have that would show some suggestion of his body, but not be too big, not too small, be the right color? Like, just, there were a lot of those. Then it came time to shoot, and that was also, late in the day. Gregory was like, we only have a 45-minute window for the light in the house to match the light outside of the house, and then there were people running around with fog machines.
And then it's chaotic. There's like big machines, and there's big lights, and there's generators. But at the end of it, if it all works, it's so quiet, so peaceful.
Focused on Charlie. Focus is on Charlie. We're shooting Charlie. And hold. Shooting.
Nice. And then, you never know if you're going to get it. I was slightly guessing, but when you sat in that chair and then just got that expression, I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
In my imagination, the care, the nurturing, and, all that goes into raising a beautiful kid is like the way I feel we've approached this project.
Yes.
We had to take care of it. We had to be patient with it, et cetera. And then we get you to preserve all of those feelings and all that thinking in one image.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we go into
Yay.
portfolio.
Look, Broadway, we love.
We did this great dance portfolio and tried to capture, the movement and the emotions of different styles and types of dance.
I know you prefer this picture.
I totally prefer this picture, and you don't.
No.
So do we flip a coin?
That's a good solution.
On the list of things we wanted to portray was a very particular type of avant-garde dance. And there was a model, and her facial expressions were verging on the grotesque, but beautifully. And I don't think that's something that Anna really has the space for.
If you don't like her, which I know you don't, this was a double-page spread. So why not just make it a double-page spread and not worry about another image? Or do you have
fine. Can you try this quickly as a double page for me?
It didn't seem likely that we'd ever come to some agreement over that particular image. So I kind of felt like rather than replacing it with something I didn't like, it'd be better just not to have another image on the spread.
She's so sweet, this girl here on the end. Love the makeup, really beautiful.
The dance portfolio with Inez and Vinood, it went through a couple of conversations before we got to what we were doing and how we were going to do it. But we started off the shoot with this set within the studio that looked like a club. The idea was that there would be different types of dance introduced where then people would kind of back up, and they would be on the sides watching these other people compete with their different types of dance. There's nothing quite like it. It's very hard for me to articulate. It happened in the studio when we were doing that shoot.
Yes, Amara! Smiling from ear to ear. I don't know what to do.
When you see somebody standing in front of you and they start to move and you just think oh my God. And it's you can feel it. It's just this is so moving and so breathtaking.
Period. That was beautiful.
This whole issue, being that it's December and comes out in November, we've had this discussion because it will come out right after the election. Dance could either seem like this wonderful free expression and it could create feelings of elation and joy, or it could look like, why are they dancing? That's the last thing in the world. But then I thought the idea of the spirit is something that we all in fashion, I think, understand. And it's we love the creativity of it. We love expressing ourselves through the choices we make. And that should never change, regardless of what happens in the world. It doesn't mean it's more important than these great issues in the world, but you can't lose sight of how vital or how important creativity is and the joy that it brings people.
And this is just amazing, I think.
I mean, I think the important thing now are the cover lines. Or if you wanted to try a different color logo.
No, the white's nice.
I like the white.
You were right, like this is a better...
I like it.
Yeah, no, I think it's better than the headshot.
It is.
So,
it's fashion.
I am very excited about this issue. If you'd asked me ever in my whole lifespan, I never would have thought I would be a guest editor at Vogue. I mean, I never thought I'd ever even have a dress in Vogue, let alone be the guest editor of Vogue.